Hello, I'm Matt Broughton for Game On, and with me today is Oliver Niner, the head of sales at Pandascore. Oliver, nice to talk to you again.
Nice to be here again, Matt.
I wanted to pick your brains about esports. So can you explain to me, why is esports such a valuable fifth vertical for the sports books?
It's a great question. I mean, if I can, I'd like to answer it in two ways. Firstly, it's a very powerful vertical because actually esports is a bit of a misnomer, really. It's actually made up of a number of different sports which have different characteristics. So, I mean, if you take the big three, for example, CSGO, League of Legends and Dota 2, they have very, very different market sets and different player bases and different player types, and even, for an operator, for different marketing approaches for those. So you've really got a huge amount of value within that, which goes down into a lot of depth. And then there's growing sports like Valorant and King of Glory. So it really is not just one singular sport, it is an entire set of sports. And secondly, it's about coverage. It's about the fact that because you have this diversity, you have a number of different regional specialities. We've got tournaments in Asia, in China, in Japan. You've got tournaments in North America. You've got tournaments in Latin America, and you've got tournaments in Europe. So you have this broad global coverage, which is incredibly powerful, and delivers so much value to operators, and so much potential value there as well if they really embrace it.
Now, obviously, at the moment, we're seeing the world is sort of starting to open up again. If live sports return to the state they were pre-COVID, what impact do you think that will have on the way that the online bookers are using esports?
Well, I mean, they should embrace it more, really. I mean, like a Pandascore, we're not seeing we're seeing growth, continual growth. As the sports calendar grows and changes, I think people, there is a misnomer, really, which is to say that, I mean, esports did a fantastic job of bridging a crisis point, and that was brilliant, and it was great for the industry and really useful for operators. But I think what operators are seeing now is actually that esports are here to stay. They're here, they're growing in their own right. There's different marketing methods, there's a different audience, there's different channels that people can go through. And that's incredibly powerful. So we're seeing growth for all of our customers in terms of participation, in terms of volumes, and also in performance. So really, it's down to operators to embrace it, and embrace it through good product. I can't stress that enough. It's really important that operators embrace good esports product, which is tailored to esports. Pandascore, we specialize in it. Too often you'll find esports as a tack on, as something added on, as part of a package. Not what we do. We specialize in esports, and we're here to help operators really build that value.
Is there any reluctance from specific demographics with esports, like when it comes to online gambling? Is there a certain age bracket where you see people kind of looking at esports and not understanding it, or just completely disregarding it?
No, you see esports participate. I mean, bettors are bettors. So the older you get, obviously, you get more people who are into kind of more traditional kind of methods of gambling. So there's a translation piece, I suppose, is maybe a kind of better way of looking at it, where people have to understand the sport and understand the what happens in it. But I don't think that's specific to a demographic. Yes, esports appeals to a younger demographic. Yes, it's more steeped in video game culture and these things. But actually, when you look at CSGO's been around since the year 2000. So actually, no, it doesn't. It's really just about a kind of an education piece and kind of helping users to understand and kind of enjoy esports as a media. But I don't think it's restricted to one particular demographic. I think it really is just about kind of bringing it to the fore, and we're seeing that as the vertical goes up and gets more popular, actually, that more people do want to participate and use it.
Is there a big esport event or a particular product you think has a chance of actually crashing over into the mainstream, saying the same way that maybe I'm not into tennis, but I know when Wimbledon's on? Do you think it'll ever get to a point? I mean, obviously, as the generations pass, then, as you say, it'll become very commonplace that we all grew up playing video games, so they're very, very normal to us. But do you think there's one specific instance that stands a chance of breaking through into the mainstream?
There already is. I think, when I first came into esports, I went to some events, and they were, already huge arenas, and with huge levels of participation, huge prize pools, huge sponsorships. I mean, we got the international coming in this autumn, which had to be rescheduled from where it existed. It was originally going to be in Sweden, but now it's been rescheduled, and it's coming in October. That is huge. That's a Dota 2 tournament, and it's massive. Like, kind of in terms of the esports world. And I think we're going to start seeing penetration. I mean, in CS:GO, you've got tournaments like you've got the Blast Series and you've got the Pro League. These are massive events, and I think they will start to penetrate. You have that in League of Legends as well, and there's regionality there as well. So big tournaments in certain areas, you're seeing tournaments in Mexico and in Brazil, and again in Sweden and in Northern Europe and then in Asia. So I think the locality is going to be really important. But yeah, very exciting. Look out for the international. I'd recommend everyone get into that and watch that. I think people will be surprised, and it will be, it's a massive tournament and a massive moment in the calendar.
Brilliant. Well, look, it's a fascinating subject, and I really appreciate your thoughts on it. And as always, thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks, Matt. Always great to talk to you, mate.
I'm Matt Broughton for Game On.